Hi everyone, Gaurav this side. Welcome back again on this channel. So I went through a lot of videos on N8N on YouTube, and every creator I saw was creating their workflows, automation, and agents on N8N. But I didn't found a single video that was covering the foundational knowledge about AI and N8N. You can watch their hundreds of videos and copy their workflows, but you cannot create agents or automation by using your own brain. So in this video, I thought that I should come up with the foundational knowledge where we will be learning the conceptual knowledge about N8N and AI, so that after this video, you will be able to build any type of AI agent and automation using your creativity. So let's start this video, and before moving ahead, let me introduce myself. My name is Gaurav Mitawa and I'm a founder of Cluster X, where we are building these AI agents. So it's been more than 1.5 years I have been building AI agents for businesses around the world. Now let's see how we can build AI agents, or what is the foundational knowledge we will be learning in this masterclass. So the first question that should be coming from your side is why N8N? Okay, so one more thing, you can always ask me question in the comment section. Any type of workflow you want to build or any query you have, you can always put in the comment box. Secondly, if you want me to build for your organization, you can always fill the form in the description box, where we provide the AI consultation, how you can use AI agents in your business. We audit the process, we find out bottlenecks, and then we build AI agents and deploy for the automation, complete automation on the process. Let's start this. So the first question that comes in, that why N8N? So N8N is an open source platform which provide huge flexibility with a lot of pre-built functionalities with different applications that helps us to build any type of AI agent automation easily on N8N. If the same is we build using code, then it takes months or weeks of time to build such powerful AI agent. So the first thing is that we can host it on our PC as well, on our server. The second is that it has a lot of no code, low code, and like code functions, where we can build a highly scalable AI agent using code blocks. Third thing is that it is highly useful for enterprise grade level. So you can build production ready AI agent on N8N. So let's come to the point and let's understand what we will be learning in this masterclass. So the first thing we will be covering is N8N and AI concept. The second is nodes. Third will be the API and webhooks. Fourth will be the databases and memories, data transformation logics, and error handling. So most of the kit I saw that they just try to build the workflows rather than they don't focus on conceptual knowledge. And that is the first principle when you want to build something. You can spend 80% of your time, watching a lot of workflows, and you will be just getting 20% of the knowledge. What you can do is you can just get 80% of the knowledge in just 20% of efforts using these conceptual videos, and then you can build by your own. Okay, so let's start from the N8N and AI concept. Now, the first thing that comes in, that what is AI agent, what is automation? Well, I can say you that very simple layman language, that agent is something that has a work autonomously, or AI automation is something that works at a free fixed workflows, but it is not a good description about AI agent and automations. What is then? Okay, so the first thing is that AI, as we know that from the last 2 years, LLMs are evolving a lot faster than before. What we are doing is that earlier, almost in 2022, we were having LLMs and we were using those LLMs using their API to transform data. Now we, after 2 years, in like 3 years, in 2025, we have evolved in a manner that LLM can be used to take multiple steps, and they are made capable to go for different tool calling. We build different tools, we provide these different tools to LLM, and then we provide instruction to LLM to use those different tools, and then they perform a particular task, and that's how we get our work done. So they follow a particular framework that belongs where prompts, LLM, and tools, and this is how they get a work done. The main thing is that in these agents, the brain, the main core is LLM. Okay, that's how they functions. So we can always use different type of AI LLMs for different type of AI agents, and this is always vary according to the requirement we have. Now, the major important thing is that let's say in businesses we have multiple tasks, then we have using like combining all these different tasks, we have a one process. So they can be used to automate one complete process. Okay, so they can run autonomously. What you need to say is that, let's say you have a lot of resumes and you have a lot of you have a one hiring agent. You can just give a lot of your resume and say to the agent that, hey, I got these resumes and I want you to hire them according to the best fit according to our JD, and this is the JD. Now the agent will do the rest. It will scrap their all the resume, identify person, then it will go to the LinkedIn, identify their key potential skills, and then it will find out their LinkedIn profiles, other profiles like Instagram, Facebook. Will find out the about more about the person and find out the cultural fit about that person, and then it will schedule appointment with them, and then it will have a hiring, like it will take an interview with them. So this is how an agent do the thing autonomously. But in automation it doesn't like that. It is something that you provide an output, you provide an input, and then it will do some operation into it, and then you will get some output. That's all. Now, AI agent has a different term as well that we call as AI employee. What's the difference between AI agent, AI employees? So in agent, we have these three basic generic thing, that is a prompts to LLMs and tools. In AI employees, what we do is we provide a complete personality to an agent. We provide them skills, we give them different traits to behave, and then we set some objectives. So this is how AI employee is slightly different than AI agent. It's an advanced version where it has understanding, how it needs to behave, what skills, what traits it have. So accordingly it caters to your business. So that's how it works. Now there is a different thing that is we call as an agentic AI. That's a slightly different one. I'll be discussing it in the next video. Now let's understand why these AI agents are getting widely known from last 1 year. And the reason is that AI agents are getting a huge implementation in businesses. So in all businesses, they have different processes, tasks that can be, they are repetitive, they are manual, and they cost huge time and money. And these AI agents these tasks and workflows can be automated by AI agents, and we get a greater autonomy in businesses, which saves huge cost and provides us greater ROI. And the reason is that they have wide level of implementation in all different industries. Now let's come to automation. So as I said, they are pre-fixed workflows where you provide some output, and then AI is just a component where it performs some operations, and then you will get an output. So that's how the automation actually works. Now LLM is not the core technology, not the core function of these AI automation, because there are other operations that will be performed on automations. So they can run autonomously, but with a pre-fixed workflow. So there will be a fixed workflow that will be used. Let's say you want to post content on LinkedIn, then there will be a LLM. There will be a scraper that will scrap the content. Then it will be passed through LLM. Then LLM will create a post, and then it will go to automatically for approval from your side. And then as you approve, that content will be posted on LinkedIn or Instagram. So this is how the automation actually works. Now they follow fixed path and they are huge cost in saving. So let's say you have a lot of repetitive process in your business, and then you can find out those repetitive process, and then you can build an automation and implement into it, and it will be automated. So you don't need to have another person to run this repetitive process. Let's come to the conceptual part of N8N. As I said, this is open source. You can host by yourself, so you can be secure more on data and cost. Second is that it has a lot of building blocks that we call them as a nodes. So nodes is something that is a kind of a building block that we use to visually represent a particular logic. So that's how the nodes actually works. Then you can run it on cloud and self-hosted on price. Now, the major important thing about N8N is that we get a lot of pre-built functions of different applications that we can use and automate a lot of our workflows easily. So earlier, what we were doing is that we were building each API integration by ourselves in coding, and now it can be done easily using these pre-built functions. So let's say if you're in no code, if you're low code or no code person, then you can also build these AI agents or automations. while building like some of the automation that requires coding part for complex workflows, you can always use Gemini Code Assistant or DeepSeek R1 or even Crusher. If you don't know Crusher, then Crusher is a coding platform where it generates codes for you. And also, if you're comfortable with ChatGPT 4.0, then it can do the things as well. Now let's understand. Let's come to the AI part of it. So when we build AI agent or automation, we use different chat models. So what are these chat models? So chat models are no less than LLMs. They represent different type of LLM from different companies. So as you come to N8N, you will find out a lot of chat models. As you hear now, you type chat model. So you will find a lot of these chat models starting from Cohere, Grok, Olama, OpenSource. Now, the major mistake we all do is that we don't get much information about, we don't read about these AI models, and we use ChatGPT API in every of the node. Let's say it is we need to summarize document, we need to build a chatbot, we will need to build a voice agent. We always use ChatGPT API because we are random to it, but it is not the best practice. So when you want to build a particular specific chatbot or specific voice agent or a kind of workflow summarizing document or a tool, you should have the knowledge about each AI model that has a particular capacity or expertise, so that when you are using that model, it provides a better efficiency. So let's say if you want to build something that is summarizing document, and then you are using for summarization of document, you are using ChatGPT 4.0, then you are paying at least 4 to 5 times much more than what you can build using Cohere. So that's how it differs. Like, so always use best thing for best particular task, so it will be highly optimized for the price and it will be optimized for the value as well. Now let's start from the Cohere chat model. So what's good about Cohere chat model? So let's say if you have an already document, lot of document, and then you need to summarize the document, or you need to summarize a lot of meetings, then you can use this Cohere model. It cannot generate a better like answer by itself, but if you give it a lot of document and you give it a lot of data, and then you ask a lot of questions or a lot of like summarizations, then it is far better than any other LLMs. Even GPT 4.0, it outwork them. So that's how. And the best part is that the cost is almost less than 5 to 10 times less than GPT 4.0. So that's how you can use coherent chat models. Now when to use it? So let's say if you are giving already data and then you need to summarize meetings, because in meetings we have already data, a lot of data to summarize, answer questions from documents, or help with business tasks, you can use Cohere. There comes Grok. Grok is my favorite one because Grok is something that provides a lot of speed. So why Grok is able to provide speed? Let's say if you are using ChatGPT API, then it will be faster on Grok than if you are directly taking API from OpenAI Playground platform. Why so? Because Grok has their own tech in terms of chips, which is specifically built for processing LLMs. Now, let's say if you're using, you need something faster, then you can go on Grok and then you can take APIs from of any model and it will be faster, at least 10 times faster. So when to use it? Like, let's say you want to build a customer support chatbot where you want the response very quick up for customers, or you want a very low latency, then you can always use Grok chat models. So there comes Olama. Olama is something that is open source. Let's say if you are slightly worried about data and you are building an agent for a particular business that is worried about their data and security and privacy, etc., you can use Olama. It's an open source self-hosted platform where you can host it on their own PC, own server, and then you will have a full control, 100% control on the data. So you can choose Olama for if you want total control, privacy, and on-prem hostings. Now there comes the most reliable model, that is ChatGPT 4 or GPT or 4 series. So what is the difference between ChatGPT and other model? The major difference that I found is that they are pretty good at tool calling. Let's say you build agent and then you can always use ChatGPT API right there. What happens is that when we build an agent, we connect a lot of tools to it. So if you use any other model, then ChatGPT API or OpenAI chat models are pretty good to call these different tools. So let's say if you are using another model like DeepSeek or the other any API, then they would be subjected to a lot of hallucinations. Sometimes they can miss a tool calling, and then your workflow will be having a lot of errors. So if you want something reliable, then I would say that in every agent node, you can always use ChatGPT APIs. So that's how it works. Now, the major thing is that it is always on reliability side. Let's say if you want budget-friendly API, then you can go with DeepSeek. DeepSeek is something that, let's say, if it will be generating results similar to OpenAI, but it will have a latency. Sometimes it can deny you for generating particular result, but ChatGPT is something that will always generate a result. Now comes DeepSeek. So in the DeepSeek, they have best in class for coding purposes and reasoning. Their R1 model is good in reasoning. Okay, so understand one more thing. There is a two type of model. The one is general purpose models and another is reasoning models. So in ChatGPT, the reasoning models are O4 series. Let's say O1 is there, O3 is there, O3 mini is there, O4 is there. So they are reasoning models. So they are kind of expert. They are very intelligent than generic models. And if we comes to generic models, so let's say if you want to summarize a text, then you don't need a reasoning model. You just need a kind of generic models. And then if you want to analyze something deep, something research on that particular topic, then you can use always reasoning models. In DeepSeek, the reasoning model is R1 and V1, I guess is generic models. There comes Anthropic. Now, what is different in Anthropic? So Anthropic has a larger context window. So let's say if you are building something where you need a huge memory and you wanted to retain the context, then you can use Cloud A, because the context window is something that helps the LLM to retain the memory for a longer period of time. So this is how it helps. So let's say if you are providing huge number of document for summarization, if ChatGPT fails there, then you can use Cloud A. So that's how it works. Now there comes Open Router. So let's say if you want to use a different type of API for different type of like say tools or different type of agent, then rather than going for all the APIs, you can go with Open Router. So Open Router is an aggregator for all these different APIs. So it provides access for all the LM under one API, and you can access any of the LM using that one API. Now comes the Azure OpenAI model. Now, what is different in Azure? So it's just that OpenAI is hosted on Azure, where you can control some extent of data for better privacy and for better data control. Now there comes the Google Gemini. So what is different in Google Gemini is that when you want to build a chatbot where you want to have a brand voice or you want a very highly conversational tone, then you can use Google Gemini, because Google Gemini provides a model with text, vision, voice, and they are pretty good mimicking your voice or mimicking your conversational style. So anytime you think that you want to build a chatbot which can talk like a human to your customers, then you can always go with Google Gemini, specifically 2.5 Pro or 1.5 Pro. There comes our Mistral. Mistral is a small LM, I would say. It's something that is fast, open source, and multilingual. So let's say if you want to build a small chatbot for a particular website, and then you want something to be hosted by yourself, and you want a data control as well, then you can use Mistral. Now we are here for N8N, and let's understand what is nodes. So nodes are, as I said, they are visual representation of the any logic that we put on N8N. Okay, so let's see what are trigger nodes. So trigger nodes are the first logic where they start the workflow to be executed. Now you can just say that webhook are something that it could be from inbound API calls, it could be manual, it could be according to the schedule calendar, it could be according particular time. So trigger is something that can be built multiple nodes. So let's come to the first thing, that is our trigger node. Now, as you are here, you will see these are the different type of node could be there. The first says that when you click, it will be executed like that. Okay. The second is then when a chat is received. So let's say that your workflow has a WhatsApp chat, and then someone messages you on WhatsApp, and then it receive a message and it will be executed. The workflow will be executed, right? So the third thing is the schedule trigger, where someone you set a particular time for a workflow execution. Then as the time arrives, the ball ticks, then it will be started like that. There comes webhook. So webhook is something that is quite a universal API for every application. So let's say you receive a message through Telegram, and let's say that the application is not here, pre-built is not there. Then you can integrate webhook with any of the applications. And as someone messages you over there or some data is there, any trigger happens in your particular application, this webhook will be triggered, and this webhook will trigger the workflow. So the fifth one is on form submission. So let's say you get a lot of data. Okay, so you want to have a form that will be receiving data from person, or any person fills the data and submit the form, then the workflow will be executed. So there are different type of triggers nodes that you can always use. And if you want to find out where you can find these trigger nodes, add another trigger is the only option to get those triggers. Now, as I come here, you will find a lot of triggers trigger manually on app event. App event is something where any functions happens or any data adds into applications, it gets triggered, then it will trigger the workflow as well. On schedule is for time. On webhook call is from any generic application or any universal application that you want to connect it. Then on form submission is there when executed by another workflow. So let's say one workflow, as it completes, it can also execute another workflow as well. On chat message, something that you can use for test models here only. When running evaluation, so let's say run a data set through your workflow to test performance. So there are other ways as well. So there are multiple n number of ways, but mostly you will be using on app event, you will be using by like schedule trigger or webhooks or on form summations. These are the majorly used. Now comes integration. So integration are something where we use action nodes. What are action nodes? Let's come to here. So in the first part, we have these trigger nodes, then AI nodes, then data transformation nodes, data flow nodes, API, and there comes action nodes. So let's say that we got a data from a form submission in the trigger node, and we want to send a particular message or email to that person who has submitted the form. Then we can use get email or get send message email node. So this is something that perform a particular action, and this is the category is called as action nodes. Now here we are that we have to there are some things that we need to remember, then that is respect API limits and pagination patterns. So let's say what is API limit. So we get some limited number of runs in a particular API. So let's say if in one workflow you are just triggering multiple APIs, let's say 5, 10, 20 APIs, then it's not a good practice. What you can do is you can always batch different APIs into workflows, and then you can run it. I'll be explaining you in the next workflow. Well, we will be building the workflow itself. So this comes under best practice. So let's just understand the first thing, that is how these action nodes are integrated. Then in the workflow we will be covering then what is the best practice while building those workflows. There comes data transformation node. Now in data transformation nodes, you can just see a lot of type of data transformation workflows here. They are pretty nodes. So how does they work? Let's say we get data from one node to another node, and we want to apply some specific operation. We want to squeeze the data, compress the data, filter the data, limit the data, or remove the duplicates, or we want to aggregate the data, or we want to split it out. Then there are lot nodes that we can use, and we can easily transform the data. So the first thing is that set data. So let's say you get two variable, and in the two variable you have data like name or email, and now you need to pass the data to a particular specific name, where you change the name from name to person name, email to company email. Now you can just set those variables for particular variable, then the data will be go through into a constant format. So that's how it's a different. There comes a move binary data. So what happens in move, let's say when it comes to text data, we can pass it through JSON format. If you don't know JSON is a JavaScript object notations. So it's a format of JavaScript where the data is into two pair. The one is key and the value. So in binary data, let's say we want to pass out image or video from one node to another format, another node, then we use binary data. And in binary data, we need to follow a particular node where it converts the binary data, it converts image into binary data, and then we pass the binary data from one node to another node. We cannot directly pass one image from another node. So that's how it works. There comes split in batches. So split in batches is something, let's say we are here, and let's understand how does split in batches actually works. So we are here in data flow nodes. So data transformation nodes. So as you come here, you will find split in batches. I think it is here. So this is split in batches. So it has two nodes. It's a combination of two nodes. The one is loop over items, another is replace me. How does it work? So let's say you have multiple objects passing through the one node to another node, but you want one object pass at one time. So then what you will do, because according to the follow, all the object will be passed at once. But let's say that you want to pass one image to one chat model at once at a time, because if it passes a lot of images at the same time, then it will be fail, it will have some errors. So let's say if you want to pass one image at one time, then you use this node. So this, what it will do is that you will pass a one thing, then it will process the one thing, and then it will send one by one. So that's how it works. So it passes data in batches like that. Now there are item list, rename list, streams, function codes, and there are then we have different data transformation nodes as well. Like as I said, merge. We will be covering into the direct onto our canvas. Okay, so let's come to N8N here, and I have classified, categorized them into multiple categories. So first we read about trigger nodes, then we have AI nodes. Now let's understand about AI nodes. So AI nodes are something where we get the data to a particular node, and then there is a AI behind it that process the data in a manner that provides us a particular output. So what we found is that most of the people I saw that they generally use AI agent for every of their data transformations, but it shouldn't be used for every tool. Let's say if you want to have a agent and you want to provide different tools, then you can always use AI agent node. But you want to have some query, let's say you have a lot of databases, and then you want to do some query, then you can always use a basic LLM chain. So how does it different is, let's say when you use a AI agent, then AI agent comes up with a complete framework. Prompting is there, tools is there, memory module is there, chat model is there. So it also consumes a lot of cost on that one. So let's say if you want to have some, let's say you want to talk to a database, then you can always use basic LLM chain, or then you can use as an information extractor. Let's say your data pass through one node to another node, and then you in that data you have data like complete profile detail about a particular person, or it has a resume. Then you want to extract the particular LinkedIn profile from that resume, then you can pass the data through information extractor. Now if you want to summarize multiple documents, let's say you pass a lot of resumes to this node, then you can apply connect any node, like as I said, ChatGPT could be there, DeepSeek could be there, and then you can ask the summarization of each resume. So this is how it works. There comes the sentiment analysis. So let's say you are building a chatbot and you want to build something where it can identify that how was the person response for your query. Now you can pass the let's say email or message to this node, and it will find out what is the sentiment of that particular person in the response. Let's say someone tell you sorry or something related to their query, and it feels like anger in that, so it will be a negative one. And if someone is appreciating you, someone is telling good thing about you, then it will be in positive one. And someone just said his things professionally, then it will be a neutral one. So like that you can always find out sentiment analysis. There comes the question and answer chain. Let's say you have data, it's particularly RAG. So what is RAG? RAG is a retrieval augmented generation, where it has a lot of databases in the back, and then it will provide the understand your query, and it will get data from that query and will pass on to LM. Then LM will understand your query and understand the data, and then will respond for your query. So this is how RAG actually works. Now let's say that you want to build a chatbot, or you want to build a basic chatbot that can just get information from database, and then it can provide according to the query. So basically what it do is that in this node, it has a RAG system behind it that has, you need to connect databases, and then you need to connect model, and then whatever you can ask, it will respond to you from the database only, no any other informations. So this is how these AI nodes are used for different tasks. Let's come to data transformation nodes. Now we have, these are the master one. These are the few one that we will be used to transforming our data. Let's come that you want to build something custom operation and that is not available on N8N, then you can always use code block. What it actually do? So let's say you want something that has custom operations. Let's say you have a lot of data and then you want to, let's say you have 1,000+ images. Now you want one images which has a particular text embedded on it, right? Now you won't find any functions for that. What do? You will build a code, will put a ChatGPT API into it, Vision API, and this code will be run on JavaScript functions. So you will be using JavaScript language into it, and you can ask ChatGPT. If you are no code in low code, then you can ask ChatGPT what you want to achieve through that code block, and it will generate code, and then you can provide into it to code block, so it will be working for you. There comes filter. Let's say you want to filter the data which is let's say you have 5 type of different data and then you want to separate one type of data, then you can use filter nodes. Just you can go on their icons, they show the same. There comes limit. So let's say you have data which is coming from node, and that is, let's say again 5 type of data, and then you want to limit only 2 to 3 in 2 to 3 variables, or you want to limit the data. Let's say you get 5 different type of data once, then you can limit the data that you will be getting only 2 at once. So this is how the limit function actually works. Then there comes edit fields. So let's say when you pass node data to another node, then you can use these edit fields by renaming their data field names. There comes split out. So how does split out actually works? So let's say you have bundle of data and you want to separate the data according to their variables, then you can use this node. There comes aggregate, and then you, let's say this is a totally opposite of this. Split out and aggregator are totally different and totally opposite to each other. You have a bundle of data that is segregated into different variables and you want to aggregate into one, then you can use aggregate. And for splitting out, you can use split out. There comes merge. Let's say you get data from 2 different nodes and then you want to merge them. For example, you have data, one is from image, and that is another data that you are coming is the description that is explaining the image. Now you can come take this data from 2 different node, and then you can connect it with the merge node, and it will be giving you the data in a one format, and it will have image plus its descriptions. There comes summarizations. You can summarize using that node, and then you can compress the data and convert file into JSON. This is convert. So it not only convert to JSON, but let's say you want to convert image into binary into B64 into image again, then you can use these conversion node. Okay, so let me show you how, where you can find those nodes. So this is a data transformation nodes. As you come here, you will find AI transformation, that you just provide some prompt and it will transform it for you. Then edit fields, date and time, filter, limits, remove duplicates. Then we have compression, convert to file, crypto, edit image. Let's say you want to edit a particular image, you want to resize it, you want to compress it, and then you can use the different functions available in edit file. Okay, so as you come down, extract from file, HTML, work with HTML is there, markdown format is there. So you get multiple type of data transformation nodes. And if there is something that is not available, then you can always use code block. Okay, so this is something we covered data transformation. Now it's time for data flow nodes. They don't actually transform the data from one to another, but what they do is that they just channelize the data from one side to another according to different conditions. Let's say the switch. So let's say you have data and then you want to switch according to particular conditions. Then you can use switch nodes. Then there is a wait node. Let's say you hit a API and then the API gives you result in after 10 seconds. Then you can use wait nodes to get result. And then as the results arrive, then the nodes will be further executed. There comes execute workflow, which will be like let's say one workflow is completed and you want to execute the second workflow by executing the first one, then you can use execute workflow. So what it do, it basically execute the sub workflow. There are if condition. Let's say if data has one thing, you want to put if logic on that one. Let's say for one data, if the condition is not met, then choose true or false, then you can use if node. Loop over items is something I told you that about. It's batch split in batches. So let's say if you want to split a data in batches, then you can use these two nodes. Okay, now is the important one, that is compare data set. So let's say you want to compare data and you want to compare it into multiple manners. So it's a complex one. So then you can use compare data set node. So what you will do is, let's say you have data in 4 different nodes and you want to compare them according to different conditions, or then you can use this node. So let's say the data in the 4 nodes are same, then it will be arrived through this node. The data is different, this will be in different node, and according to A or B conditions, they will be in different nodes. Okay, so let's come to API nodes. In API nodes, we cover 2 type of node that are mostly important one. That one is the universal HTTP call. What does it mean by HTTP call? Let's say in HTTP, you want to send data from one workflow from N8N to your application, could be WhatsApp, Telegram, or other. You can use HTTP request that is a channel between one application to other applications. So in API, we get four to five different type of API according to different methods. Like let's say the one is delete, get, head, option, patch, post, put. What are these? Let's say you want to send data from one to another point, then you will be using post API. Then you want to get data from another application, then you will be using get API. You want to delete records in a particular database, then you will be using delete method. If you want to have a patch means that is editing the already existing one. You want to edit something, then you can use patch API. If you want to put data, let's say that data is already there, but you want to put another data in front of it, then you can use put APIs. So like that, you can use multiple methods into one HTTP call. This is a universal channel framework to pass any API. There comes webhook. So webhook is slightly different than API. So let's say you have data that is coming from Google Sheet, and you want to access the data in here in like in N8N, then you can directly connect Google Sheet because the function is available. But let's say if there is something that is connection is not available, then they works on the similar manner. I'll explain, how the webhook is different in API in the upcoming few videos. You will be understand it better, but not much difference is there. So that's how it works. Now let's come to action nodes. So as I said, let's say you will be performing multiple actions into your like workflow. Let's say you get an email, you rewrite the email through API through agent node, and then you want to send those email to back to the customers, then you will be using those action nodes. Now there could be different type of actions. Let's say we want to not just send SMS, we want to trigger to another application, or we want to trigger a kind of voice agent or email agent or any other SMS agent. You can use different type of actions. Now where you find those actions? So let's say I come to here, and then you can find actions in apps, and as you are here, you will find multiple type of application. Almost every application that is we need, we can find it here. And let's say if you don't find any application here, then you can always use HTTP node to call that applications. So from databases to Notions to Aura, Paddle, PayPal, payment gateways, CRMs, you will find each of those application here. And using those applications, you can perform different type of actions. Let's come to second one, that is we have API, we have data flow, we have data transformation node, AI nodes is covered, then trigger node is covered. Now what is left? So the main thing is that we have covered the nodes, we have covered different type of operations that we can do, and now the major portion that is left is databases. What are databases? So let's say when you connect our node, we build workflows, we want some memory to them. And this memory is something that will be retaining data. Let's say you build a chatbot and you want agent to remember the person. Then how would this agent will remember that person until and unless the agent haven't saved the data. So this is how the database comes in. What is databases? So let's every app you use on Instagram, YouTube, or school portal has a memory, and that memory that is stored at some place, and this place is called as database. So why do we need databases? So let's say without databases, the app would forget everything the moment you close them. Okay, so for every memory, the whatever we want to retain, we need to use databases. And now there are three type of databases. So the first type of databases are SQL databases. So we call them as a SQL databases. Now how they functions. So let's say you have a Google Sheet where you define data into format of rows and different columns. So when you define those data into different rows and columns, we call this as organized data, because the data is into different pair of rows and columns. So then we call them as a structured databases. So let's say if you want to save data, let's say it could be name, email, phone numbers, addresses, uh, IDs, or like that, then the data will be in the format of highly organized manner. There we use SQL databases. So let's say you have a neat Excel sheet, rows, columns, everything in order. Then that's SQL, where the data is highly organized. Okay, there comes no SQL databases. Now let's say that your chatbot is talking to a lot of people, and then it is saving their data. It is getting data from those people. Let's say it could be name, email, their LinkedIn post, their photos, their, like, let's say documents, resumes, or like there is no fixed format of data, right? So in those chances, what we do is that we save the data into unstructured format. We just label the data. The database is just label the data that this is here the document, you can get the document, and the data is not organized. So these type of databases are called as NoSQL databases, because the data is not arranged to a specific row and column, but the data is presented into a databases with labels, just labels. Okay, so let's say if it is the name, then you will find the person name into it. If it is document, you will file document into it. And if it is photos or LinkedIn post or like that, so that you will find into label data. So this is not organized databases that we call as no SQL databases. Now there comes vector databases, and that is the most important one, because if you are into AI agents automation, this is the databases that you will be using most. So what is vector databases? Let's say this database is specifically built for AI. How does it work is, let's say you talk to an agent. This agent will take the data into natural language, that is generally natural language. So what does it mean by natural language? So let's say you say something and you said, hey, my name is Gaurav. I built this company called ClusterX, and I'm building AI agents for people. So this data is in the format of natural language, that I said some sentences and now it is in the form of natural language. What agent do is that it will have this natural language data sentences. It will convert those natural language sentences into vector formats and using vector embeddings. Okay, and then this data will be converted into number of 0 to 1. So these are called as vectors, and this data will be stored into vector databases. Now let's say that I ask the agent that, hey, what I just said. So what agent will do is that this data that is stored into contextual meaning. Okay, what does it mean by contextual meaning? It won't save the data like as I said, but it will understand the meaning, contextual meaning, and then accordingly it will be converting the natural language sentences into their contextual uh, like vector data formats. So the as ask some query to the agent, then it will find out the contextual meaning, and then it will take out the chunks, and then it will convert it back to into natural language, and then it will respond to me that you said that your name is Gaurav, you are building a company called ClusterX AI, and you are building AI agents for the people around the world. So that's how the vector is stored. So anytime when you want to deal with large chunks of data, let's say you have documents or you have n number of data that you want to store, you can always go with vector databases. And the database that store in vector databases are always stored into vector embeddings. So this is how vector databases actually work. Now, when you convert those data from natural language to vectors, then you need another model that we call as the embeddings models. So let's say let's come to the node where you can just learn how we can connect our vector databases. So let's say that I have an agent node that is here. Now I want to connect it with vector databases. So as I here, I'll connect the databases into memory, and I'll say I want to connect with Pinecone. So Pinecone is a famous vector databases. So I use this embeddings. Now I will be using this as a tool. So I will be using embedding. So let's say ChatGPT, OpenAI, embeddings. So the model that we are using here is not a generative text generative model, but it is embedding model. What it do is that it will convert the query from natural language to vector formats. So that's how it is generally used. Then I need to connect with my vector Pinecone. So I will be signing up for the Pinecone. Then I will be connecting that Pinecone account directly here. And then this can be connected to the AI agent. So this is how these AI agent or vector embeddings will be connected. Okay, so this is not connecting right now. Yeah, this is how it gets connected. So here we covered the vector databases. Now let's understand few of its examples. So let's say you want to use it. So as we use ChatGPT memory, so in ChatGPT memory, the vector database is already used. Google search images, Spotify recommendation, all are something that stores your data into vector formats. Now, if you want to ask some examples, you can always like Pinecone it is there, Quadrant is there, Supabase is there. All these are vector databases. Then in let's say you want to go with SQL databases, then MySQL is databases that store data in structured format. If you want to with NoSQL, then there are different databases that you can figure out. Let's say we want to go with NoSQL databases, then you have NoSQL databases, and you can figure out which one you want to use. So there are PostgreSQL, there are other NoSQL databases that you can always use. So that's how the databases actually works. Now let's come to error handling. So what does it mean by error handling? Let's say that we are building a workflow and we want to explore that we want to build a workflow in a manner that doesn't have any errors. So what we do is that after building a particular workflow, we optimize the workflow in a manner that it does not produce any bugs or errors. Or let's say if it produces errors, so this error will be ignored. So the workflow, anytime when it faces any issue, it does not hinder the process that is going on. So that's how the error are handled. Now this is something that can be executed directly into a workflow. So in the next video, we will be learning a direct execution of a workflow. So till now, this is all for today, and I will catch you in the next video where we will be learning direct implementation of into workflow. So if you are covered with these things, you are covered with nodes, you are covered with AI concept and N8N databases. These are the major things that you need to learn while building AI agent automation or any other node. And you can always iterate and learn more about here. So what we generally do is that we watch direct workflow videos, and the issue that we have is that we spend a lot of time into it without conceptual knowledge, and we ended up without having much of the knowledge. So get into the details, get into the concept, and then you can start from learning about this, how these nodes are actually used. And then you can go to templates and figure out some templates, break it down by yourself, then try to make it again, play it like it as we do in our life. So just go with that, and then build by yourself. Think what you can build according to your processes, your problems, and then build accordingly. Okay, so far let's catch for tomorrow. I'll be see you in the next video.